obviously, it's got pictures of slugs because it's meant for primaries, which are, you know. But we get the idea. This is an inequality. This states that the only numbers I'm allowed to have are numbers that are greater than 7. So on this sheet, we're going to highlight the numbers greater than 7. So that would be, is it this one?
No.
Is it this one? And now this one.
Yes.
And that one.
No. 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 Yes. No. 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 It is for no. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, what this very simple task is saying, inequality. This is what we're going to end up with. This is the most basic thing. Understanding what this means is all important. So we're saying the values that I'm allowed to use for x are any value less than 15. Okay? This sheet doesn't have any decimals, but we're allowed decimals, right? Okay. We have what we have done though is gone a step further. All right, but I am going to introduce you to this one. Do you know what to do with representing these on number lines? No? So pay full attention at this point. So when we look at x has to be greater than or equal to -2, we have to show on a number line which numbers I'm allowed to use. Okay? So what we do is we find the number here, the -2 on our list, and here it is. Okay? Now, I'm going to do these two together before just putting the dots. Then this one, on 2, I'm going to put a circle, a dot. Okay? But on this one, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to put that. Can you tell me why do you think I've done that?
The circle represents that like it's not equal, and then like the filled in represents that like it could be equal or like.
And does that make sense? If it's filled in, it means you're allowed that number. If it's not filled in, it means you go up to that number, but you're not allowed that number. And then what we do is we have to decide which way the arrow goes. Okay, so the arrow will go, in this case, x is allowed to be any number greater than -2, so that means it's going to go that way. You don't have to go all the way as long as the arrow. This one, however, x needs to be less than 5. So this time, I'm just going to put this way, because it's got to be less. So that's how we show results on a number line. Okay, so you've got 2 more students there. Right, so what I've done first is I've just gone through and I've just done the dot. So basically, all we have to do is look at that number and that sign. Now, if it's an and equal to, we put the dot on that number and fill it in. If it's a not equal to, we look at that number and leave it open. So I've just gone through and gone not equal to, so put an open dot on -40. And equal to a filled dot on number 9. Right? Got it. Okay. Now it's a case of getting the arrows the correct way. So x needs to be numbers that are less than 6. So starting at 6, I have to point left, because that's where the numbers less than 6 are. This one says x has to be greater than 1. So we start at 1 and we go right, because those are numbers greater than 1. We've got less than negative 14, so less than means left. X must be less than or equal to 9, so start at 9, left. X must be greater than negative 2, so right. X must be greater than negative 15, so right. Okay? Alright. So looking at the next sheet, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right? It's a good point that, ladies and gentlemen, I've just done an arrow arbitrarily. As long as I've shown the direction, you can go all the way to the. I think they put that to show you. It doesn't. Right, so let's just talk about that one. So the next sheet, you've been given the lines. So we're going to start with x. Now we look at the dot, it's on a 4, so I'm just going to put 4. Right? This one, x, it's on negative 20, so I'm just going to put negative 20. Now I've just got to sort out the signs in between. So this is a solid line, and I'm going left. So that's a less than 4, but because it's solid, I'm going to put x is, look at the way the arrow is pointing to the left. X is less than, because it's solid, it must have a double line. Yes? No. I could write 4 greater than or equal to f. It just doesn't, for me, that doesn't make much sense. But it's fine. You won't be marked wrong. I'm doing x because it's like, I'm trying to say, what is x allowed to be? So if you think about how I'm reading it, I'm saying x is allowed to be greater than or equal to negative 20. The build up. We got it? So again, which one are you looking at? Number 6. Okay, this is where you've got to start working it out. So if it's going up in 18s, what's halfway between 0 and 18? It's going to be 9. Okay. So we're going to have x, and it's less than. It's an open dot, so no equal to, and we're on 9. So we'll put 9. X is less than. Let's just talk about the next sheet I've just given you. Okay. Did I not give you some? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking and I'm recording. So you're paying attention. This is basically what you've just done is not up to the level that we're hoping you'll be this year. Right? We need to get to the stage we were at. But on this sheet, I've given you some. It's got some examples. Now you'll notice here, look, we've got ones that don't have arrows on. It's got dots on both ends. This is an example of one where you've actually got x has to be greater than or equal to negative 1 and less than 2. So you've got an open dot because of the less than 2, and you've got a solid dot for the greater than and equal to negative 1. So there's dots on both ends. But even that's not really what I want to focus on. That's quite what we've just been doing. What I actually want to look at is the stuff that we started looking at before, which is these kind of equations things. Okay? So you can see an example. So on this sheet, in the past, we have done something like solve. This says solve the inequality, but I may have asked you to solve the equation for x minus 2 equals 20. Okay? You're with me at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I just went through the pages, yeah? Couple pages in. You all with me?
Text this one.
This will be interesting. How do we solve that equation? You should all know how to do this now.
You have to do an inverse operation.
Good.
So should I solve it?
Go for it.
Okay. Right on here.
So we've done x. What happens to x first?
It gets subtracted by me.
Subtracting. Then we multiply by 4. You get the answer 20. So we do 20 divide by 4, add 2. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. So the solving the equation, we would say x equals 7. Now, look at the inequality where it says, instead of equals 20, it says is greater than 20. What do you notice? We end up with the solution x is greater than 7. So what do you think? Do we just do the same process, but have a greater than the other? We do.
We do.
We just do.
Yeah.
All we have to do is, whatever we would do to solve the equation, we can pretend that it's an equal sign, but at the end, we can just say, well, it's got to be greater than 7 instead of equal to 7. Okay? Make sense? Okay, so there's the solution. That shows you, look, they've done it in a slightly different way, we've done it in that way. We've written that down.
And that's not funny.
We can solve inequality in the same way, solve an equation. Okay, that's important. But we have to interpret the answer. So here's the answer for the equation, but here's the answer for the inequality. Okay, so we're focusing, look, here's the inequality sign, here's the equal sign. Here's the equal sign in the answer, here's the inequality sign in that answer. Okay, so the answer is pretty much the same thing, but we just have, instead of an equal sign, we have an interval sign. Okay? Yes. I hope that comes up in subtitles on the video. That's important. Okay. So, have you written that? Has everyone written it? Okay. To finish us off today then. Here is another worked example for you. They've gone through how to do the solution. Again, you can kind of just pretend it's an equal sign in the middle. Okay? Here's an example of, doesn't matter which way around the x is. Okay. Here's an example of where you've got one on either side. Here's the answer. So you've got solutions there, but here are now some questions. Okay? Here are some questions. for you to run through. Now, I will make it quite clear. At the end of the final thing in your assessment will be these inequalities. Right? They will be, no, something like this. In fact, the ones in your textbook in the NYP are not as, they're harder on time. Okay? So when I give you an assessment that comes out from the unit review, you know it's going to be harder. So I am going to set you a homework now for Monday, because I hope to get through more of this lesson. Right now, I am going to ask you to do all of question 1 for homework.
Okay.
Can you write that down in your plans?
I don't have that.
Why should I put it on manage back when you won't write it in the plan? Well, I will, but I've asked you to write it down.